somebody had to get hurt because somebody was horseplaying and messing around. And so I was telling, these two sixth graders, they like to screw around too much. And I told them, I said, I don't want any horseplaying, and I mean it. I don't. And especially because we're testing and I'm moving you guys, and they're like, don't move us, please. So I was like, you know what, I'll tell you what. I said, today this was yesterday when we were doing testing. I said, you guys will not sit next to each other for testing. I just cannot have you two next to each other for testing. They're like, no. So I said, no. So today, basically, everybody was done with their test, but they had to have an 8th grade science test. So all my 8th graders had to take that test, which is like literally 5 people. So they're like, oh, we got to take a test and all this and this and that. And they're like, but what are we going to do? All the 6th graders are like, what are we going to do? Because we're all finished, except for one girl. She wasn't finished with her stuff. And I was like, well, you guys have to be quiet. And they're like, oh, we're going to be sitting here for like 2.5 hours. I said, yes. I go, and you need to be quiet. And I do not want any talking, because people are taking a test and they need it quiet. Just like when you were taking the test. And they're like, oh. So they're like, can we just sit next to each other? We're really quiet. Well, all we're going to do is we're just going to draw. And I was like, okay. So then I sat him there. Everything was fine. It was like, we were probably half an hour into the class, and I was like, oh, this is working out. It seems like everything's going well. And then I heard all this messing around, just sounding like people pushing each other, right, at the desks and stuff. And I was like, what's going on? I go, I knew you guys were going to do this. So I go over there, and this kid's finger is just, his thumb, all right here, was just ripped open, and all this blood's coming out. I'm like, oh my gosh. I go, oh my gosh. So you got to go to the nurse. But it was bleeding so much, I couldn't just send him out the door. Oh my gosh, it was ugh. So I run over to my desk, and I have these paper towels, the brown paper towels that barely soak up shit. So I go over there, run back. I'm like, put pressure on it, and the other one's gonna help. I was like, no, you do not touch his finger. Get away. He's like, but I want to help him. And he's like, I go, no. Go sit down. Get away from this area. You're not supposed to touch this. So then I said, okay, go to the nurse. So then he went over to the nurse, and it looks pretty bad, you guys. I was like, gosh dang. And it was just all this blood everywhere. And I was like, ugh. So the nurse patched him up, and then he came back to class. The custodian, I had to have him clean up the blood, because you are not allowed to even pick up a drop of blood. Believe me, you guys, if I had done that, I would have been, even if it was a little speck, I would get busted for that, because we're not supposed to touch anything, any bodily fluids whatsoever. So he came by within a few minutes, so that wasn't too bad. And then he cleaned that up, and he came back, and then that kid, I was like, you know what, I knew you guys were going to do that. I go, and for you to be messing around like that and pulling on this pen back and forth, and he's like, it was an accident. I go, yeah, I understand that. I understand it was an accident. I know accidents happen, but you guys were horseplaying. And he's like, I know. And so I said, you know what, I've had enough of this, and it's gone on too long, and I think you need to get a lunch reflection. And he's like, okay. So I had to have 4th period twice in a row today. Every testing time, you have to have the same period. You have to have them twice in a row. I mean, not in a row, but you have to have them twice in a day. So I saw him again, And then the kid that like ripped the other one's he's like, I keep telling him how sorry I am. I feel so sorry I did that. And I said, well, it was an accident. And the other one's like, yeah, it was an accident. Are you going to get your fucking kid or what? What the fuck is going on? God, this people, man. He's just holding this all up because he doesn't get his son. It's about fucking time he got him. Jeez. Finally comes out. Backing everybody up. I know I could have gone, you guys, but I like to, respect the school buses. Yeah, thanks a lot, dude, for keeping us all here. He's like, oh, wait. Oh, that's right, I have a son. That's right, I have a son. That's right. That's right. I forgot about him. What? What do you mean he's home? God, these people, man. I really wonder if these people should have children around here sometimes. Anyway, so that was a big drama today. Big drama today.